Adebimpe sat on the worn-out couch in her family's small house in Ibadan, her mind filled with thoughts of a better life. She was tired of the endless struggle her family faced. Her mother worked long hours as a market woman, and her father's health had worsened over the years, leaving him unable to provide. "One day, I'll marry a rich man and take us out of this misery," Adebimpe often told herself, convinced that wealth was the only solution to her problems. Her best friend, Folake, who came from a modest but happy family, often reminded her that money wasn't everything. "Adebimpe, you know love is more important than money, right? What if you marry a rich man who treats you poorly?" she asked one evening as they strolled through the dusty streets of their neighborhood. But Adebimpe shook her head, smiling confidently. "I'll find both love and wealth, you'll see." She was determined to live a life of luxury, no matter the cost. One Saturday afternoon, Adebimpe was rushing to the market when she accidentally bumped into someone, causing her basket of tomatoes to scatter across the road. "Oh no!" she exclaimed, crouching to pick them up, when a voice interrupted her. "Let me help you with that." She looked up to see Bolaji, a young man she had seen around the neighborhood but never really noticed. He was dressed simply, his face kind, though he looked no different from the other struggling boys in the area. "Thank you," Adebimpe muttered, a little embarrassed. As they gathered the tomatoes, Bolaji began talking about his dreams of becoming an engineer. "I may not have much now, but I believe things will change for me," he said with a smile that lit up his face. Adebimpe nodded politely, uninterested in his story. He was not the wealthy man she imagined for her future. Over the next few weeks, Adebimpe found herself running into Bolaji more frequently. He would greet her warmly, always eager to share his dreams and ideas for the future. Despite herself, Adebimpe started enjoying their conversations. He had a contagious optimism, and his passion for life was undeniable. One evening, as they walked back from the market together, Bolaji turned to her and said, "I know I don't have money now, but I want to make a difference. I want to create something that will change lives." Adebimpe raised an eyebrow. "That's nice, but dreams don't pay the bills, Bolaji. My family needs real money, not hopes and plans." Bolaji smiled gently. "I understand, but sometimes dreams are the first step to something bigger. Don't you have dreams, Adebimpe?" She paused, caught off guard by his question. She did have dreams, but they were tied to marrying into wealth. She had never thought about what she could achieve on her own. Adebimpe continued to interact with Bolaji, and their conversations left her questioning her perspective on life. One evening, while talking to Folake, she admitted, "Bolaji is different. He makes me think about things in a way I never have before." Folake grinned, teasing her. "Could it be that you're falling for him? Rich or not, Bolaji has something special about him." Adebimpe rolled her eyes, but deep down, she knew Folake had a point. Bolaji's kindness and ambition were beginning to challenge her long-held belief that only wealth could bring happiness. But still, she wasn't ready to give up on her dreams of luxury. "He's a nice guy, but I need more than nice," she said firmly, though her heart was no longer as sure. One Sunday afternoon, Adebimpe was invited to a party by one of her wealthier acquaintances. It was at this gathering that she met Adewale, a successful businessman. He was everything she had dreamed of, tall, confident, and surrounded by luxury. Adewale took an immediate interest in Adebimpe, showering her with compliments and attention throughout the evening. After the party, Adewale wasted no time in pursuing her. Within weeks, he proposed, promising her a life of wealth and comfort. "Marry me, and you'll never want for anything again," Adewale said, holding out a diamond ring. Adebimpe's heart raced. This was the moment she had been waiting for. But as she stared at the ring, something deep inside her hesitated. Adebimpe couldn't shake the strange feeling that came over her when Adewale proposed. She had always dreamed of marrying a rich man, but now that it was right in front of her, something didn't feel right. Later that evening, as she sat on her bed staring at the ring, her mind drifted to Bolaji. He was nowhere near as wealthy as Adewale, but with him, she felt something different, something real. The next day, she confided in Folake. "Adewale proposed to me, and I should be excited, but I'm not sure," she admitted, her voice tinged with confusion. Folake looked at her seriously. "Adebimpe, Money can buy a lot of things, but it can't buy peace of mind or true happiness. Can you see yourself being happy with Adewale, or are you just excited about what he can give you?" Adebimpe sighed. "I don't know anymore." The days that followed were a whirlwind of confusion for Adebimpe. Adewale continued to press her for an answer, while Bolaji remained a constant presence in her life, always offering her a listening ear and a genuine smile. One evening, as she walked through the streets of Ibadan, lost in thought, Bolaji appeared beside her. "You seem troubled, Adebimpe. What's on your mind?" he asked softly. Adebimpe hesitated before confessing. "Adewale proposed to me. He's wealthy, successful, everything I thought I wanted." Bolaji's expression didn't change, but there was a flicker of something in his eyes. "And what does your heart say?" he asked quietly. She looked at him, surprised. "My heart? I've never really thought about that. I've always focused on what would give me a better life." Bolaji smiled. "Sometimes the heart knows what the mind can't figure out. Don't rush your decision." One evening, as Adebimpe and Bolaji were returning from the market, it began to rain heavily. They took shelter under a small canopy, but the rain didn't stop. Laughing, Bolaji suggested they run through it, and for the first time in a long while, Adebimpe agreed to something spontaneous. As they ran, soaked and laughing, Adebimpe felt an unfamiliar joy bubbling up inside her. Under the shelter of a large tree, they caught their breath. "I haven't had this much fun in a long time," Adebimpe admitted, wiping rain from her face. Bolaji smiled, his eyes softening. "That's the thing about life, Adebimpe. Sometimes it's the simple moments that mean the most." His words lingered in her mind long after they parted that night. She realized she felt more alive with Bolaji than she ever did with Adewale, despite the wealth Adewale represented. But could she really choose happiness over security? The next day, Adebimpe met Adewale for dinner. As they sat in an upscale restaurant, Adewale talked endlessly about his business ventures and upcoming projects. But when Adebimpe tried to share her thoughts, he barely listened. "You don't need to worry about those things," he said dismissively. "I'll take care of everything. You just focus on looking good and being the perfect wife." Adebimpe frowned. This was not the life she imagined. She wanted a partnership, not a role where her only value was in her appearance. As she sat there, nodding along to Adewale's monologue, she realized how little she actually liked him. His wealth no longer dazzled her as it once had. That night, Adebimpe lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. Adewale was wealthy, but she didn't feel seen or heard with him. Bolaji had nothing to offer her financially, but when they were together, she felt valued and understood. She tossed and turned, questioning everything she once believed. The following morning, Adebimpe sought advice from her mother. "Mama, I don't know what to do. Adewale can give us the life we've always dreamed of, but Bolaji, he makes me happy," she confessed. Her mother, who had always been a strong advocate for a better life, surprised her with her response. "Adebimpe, money is important, but peace of mind is priceless. Don't marry a man who will make you feel small, no matter how rich he is." After days of soul-searching, Adebimpe made her decision. She met Adewale in his luxurious car, the diamond ring heavy in her pocket. "Adewale, I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I can't marry you," she said, her voice steady. Adewale blinked in disbelief. "What? Are you serious? Do you realize what you're giving up?" he asked, his tone sharp. Adebimpe nodded. "Yes, I do, but I'm choosing what feels right for me." Adewale scoffed, clearly offended. "You'll regret this, Adebimpe. You'll never find another man like me." With that, he stormed off, leaving her standing alone but strangely at peace. Adebimpe sought out Bolaji later that day. When she found him, he was working on a small project, his hands covered in grease. "Bolaji," she began, taking a deep breath. "I've made my decision." He looked up, concern etched on his face. "What decision?" She smiled, her heart racing. "I want to be with you, Bolaji. Not because of wealth, but because with you, I feel alive." Bolaji's eyes lit up, and without hesitation, he embraced her. "Adebimpe, you don't know how happy I am to hear that. Together, we can build a future, one step at a time." Life with Bolaji was not easy at first. They had little money, and Adebimpe had to learn to manage with much less than she had ever dreamed of. But for the first time, she felt content. Bolaji worked hard, determined to turn his engineering dreams into reality, while Adebimpe began exploring her own entrepreneurial skills. One day, Bolaji came home with exciting news. "Adebimpe, I've been offered a scholarship to study abroad. It's the opportunity of a lifetime," he exclaimed, his face glowing with excitement. Adebimpe was happy for him, but worried about what it meant for their future. "How long will you be gone?" she asked, trying to hide her unease. 2 years, Bolaji replied, his excitement dimming slightly. "But it's a chance to secure a better future for us. I can come back and start my own firm, maybe even create jobs for others." Adebimpe knew he was right, but the thought of being apart for so long scared her. Despite her fears, Adebimpe supported Bolaji's decision. "I'll wait for you," she promised. "We'll make it work." With a heavy heart, she watched him leave, holding on to the hope that their love was strong enough to withstand the distance. While Bolaji was away, Adebimpe focused on building a life of her own. She opened a small business, selling fabrics and traditional clothing. At first, it was slow, but gradually, her hard work paid off. She began to expand her product line and gained a reputation for quality and reliability. Slowly but surely, she was building the life she had always dreamed of, on her own terms. After 2 years, Bolaji returned to Nigeria as a qualified engineer. He had secured a job with a prestigious firm, and his future looked bright. Adebimpe's business had also flourished, and she had opened a second shop in Ibadan. They had both come so far from where they started, and their bond was stronger than ever. One evening, as they sat together in their modest but cozy home, Bolaji looked at Adebimpe with a smile. "We've been through so much, Adebimpe, but look at where we are now. I told you that as long as we're together, we'd make it." Adebimpe smiled, her heart full. "You were right, Bolaji. I never would have believed it back then, but true wealth really does come from the heart." With their future looking bright, Bolaji and Adebimpe decided to take the next step in their journey together. One evening, Bolaji surprised her with a heartfelt proposal. "Adebimpe, you've been with me through every challenge, every triumph. I can't imagine my life without you. Will you marry me?" Tears filled Adebimpe's eyes as she nodded. "Yes, Bolaji. 1,000 times, yes." It was the proposal she had always dreamed of, not because of wealth, but because of the love and partnership they had built together. Bolaji and Adebimpe's wedding was a simple but beautiful celebration of love, surrounded by their friends and family. As they exchanged vows, Adebimpe realized how much she had grown since the days when she dreamed only of material wealth. She had learned that true riches were found in love, in support, and in the dreams they shared. As they danced together that night, Adebimpe looked into Bolaji's eyes, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I used to think that wealth was everything," she whispered, "but now I know that with you, I'm richer than I ever could have imagined." Bolaji smiled, pulling her close. "Together, Adebimpe, we have everything we need." Thank you for watching up to this point. Please like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Turn on the notification and share this video with friends and loved ones. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this video to more viewers. I would also like to have your feedback, so please continue to drop your comments. Watch out for the next video. Bye.